So first of all, congratulations all of you. And now I discuss important question for men's UPSC men's. So first question: colonial era official secrets acts. So it is mainly new acts, official secret acts. Colonial eras needs what it needs a relook in light of modern realities and the norms that are prevailing today. Command. So colonial era's official secret acts need a relook in light of modern realities in the norms that are prevailing today. कमेंट. तो आपको कमेंट करना है इस एक्ट के बारे में जो मॉडर्न रियलिटी में क्या होगा, तो इसके बारे में आपको बोलना है. प्रिवेलिंग टुडे, प्रेजेंट के साथ आपको लिंक करके इसको डिस्कस करना है. सो यहाँ पर प्रॉब्लम क्या है, प्रॉब्लम हो रहा था. प्रॉब्लम विथ ओएसए का फुल फॉर्म ऑफिशियल सीक्रेट एक्ट्स. So problems with OSA, there is no clear definition of secret documents or information. Government can declare any document as official secrets. Government can declare any document as official secret, and there is no definition of secret documents or information. Government can declare any document as official secrets. Okay, and the act is in contravention to the right to information act. The act is in contravention. So right to information act के contravention में आते हैं और that come into force effective in 2005. Okay, और and OS's background is the colonial climate of mistrust of people and the primacy of public officials in dealing with the citizens. So OS's background is the colonial climate of mistrust of people and the primacy of public officials in dealing with the citizens, जहाँ citizen को deal करते हैं, which do not suit to the present democratic India, जो अभी प्रेजेंट डेमोक्रेटिक इंडिया के साथ सूट नहीं करता है. इट प्रोवाइड्स ए मैकेनिज्म टू प्रमोट कल्चर ऑफ सीक्रेसी. सो जो प्रोवाइड करते गए ना कल्चर ऑफ सीक्रेसी इन द गवर्नेंस एंड मेक्स डिस्क्लोजर एंड एक्सेप्शंस गोइंग अगेंस्ट द ट्रांसपेरेंसी रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ डेमोक्रेटिक गवर्नेंस. जो प्रोवाइड करते हैं मैकेनिज्म टू प्रमोट कल्चर ऑफ सीक्रेसी इन द गवर्नेंस एंड मेक्स disclosure and exception and going against the transparency requirement of our democratic governance. Section 5 which deals with the potential breaches of national security, जहाँ पर section 5 deal करते हैं potential breaches of national security is often misinterpreted and misused to frame journalist. जहाँ पर misused होते हैं जो frame करते हैं journalist. Way ahead, second administrative reforms commission report recommended that OSA should be repealed. So second administrative reforms commission में इसको repealed किया गया है, recommend किया है the OSA should be repealed and replaced with a new chapter in National Security Act, जहाँ पर इसको replace करके एक नया chapter बनाएगा National Security Act के नाम में. और second क्या है, the law commission also recommend consolidation of all laws dealing with national security and suggested a national security bill के बारे में उसको suggest किया है law commission. And commission also recommend that any person voluntarily receiving any official secret knowing of or having reasonable ground to believe at the time he receives it that the official secret is communicated in contravention of this act shall be guilty of an offence under this section. जहाँ पर offence अगर होगा तो उसको भी अगर कोई भी पर्सन, कमीशन रिकमेंड किया है, कोई भी पर्सन वॉलंटरीली रिसीव करता है यानी ऑफिशियल सीक्रेट को नोइंग और हैविंग रीजनेबल ग्राउंड में और टू बिलीव एट द टाइम he receives it that the official secret is communicated in contravention of this act shall be guilty of an offence under this section. जहाँ पर offence को guilty करा जाएगा. And The Survey Committee recommended a comprehensive amendment of Section 5 to make the penal provisions of OSA. यहाँ Survey Committee ने recommend किया है comprehensive amendment of Section 5 के बारे में to make penal provision of OSA applicable only जहाँ पर OSA का कहाँ पर applicable होगा, applicable only to violations affecting national security, जहाँ पर अगर कोई भी वायलेट कर रहा है नेशनल सिक्योरिटी के उसका वहाँ पर होगा. द कमीशन इज ऑफ द व्यू दैट द डिस्क्लोजर ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन ही टू बी the commission is of the view that the disclosure of information has to be norm and keeping it secret. जहाँ पर क्या इसको secret should be exception. The commission का व्यू क्या है, जहाँ पर कुछ जो इन्फॉर्मेशन है उसको डिस्क्लोजर किया जाएगा टू नॉर्म इन एंड कीपिंग इट सीक्रेट. जब सीक्रेट जो कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन है शुड बी एग्जम्पशन in order to send a strong signal the change and the mistake of effective implementation. जहाँ पर effective implementation the old law should be repealed or modified to the extent necessary. जब old law को repealed किया जाएगा and modified किया जाएगा. And next question, discuss the effectives of UNSC. Discuss what are the effectives of UNSC and in dealing with the issue of terrorism, and how does it provide a deterrent against the capabilities of terrorist organization. जहाँ पर क्या इफेक्टिवनेस के बारे में बोलना है यूएनएससी का, जो पर क्या किसके ऊपर ना टेररिज्म के इशू के ऊपर उनको डिस्कस करना है, और हाउ डज इट प्रोवाइड डिटरेंट अगेंस्ट द कैपेबिलिटीज ऑफ टेररिस्ट ऑर्गेनिजम्स. सो कैसे हम इसको डिटरेंट करेंगे अगेंस्ट द कैपेबिलिटीज ऑफ टेररिस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से, टेररिस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को कैसे हम स्टॉप करेंगे इसके ऊपर बोलना है. सो यूएनएससी द बैन विल सब्जेक्ट द पर्सन and the group of global travel ban, asset freeze and arms embargo. Benefits: limits the flow of funds to terror groups. so जहाँ पर बेनिफिट क्या होता है, सो यहाँ पर यूएनएससी बैन का मतलब ये द बैन विल सब्जेक्ट द कोई भी पर्सन को ग्रुप को टू ग्लोबल ट्रैवल बैन किया जाता है, एसेट फ्रीज एंड आर्म्स एम्बार्गो. एंड बेनिफिट्स क्या होता है इसका, लिमिट्स द फ्लो ऑफ फंड्स ऑफ टू टेरर ग्रुप, जहाँ पर टेरर फंड कम होता है, टेरर फंडिंग कम होते हैं, और पुट्स इन प्लेस अकाउंटेबिलिटी मैकेनिज्म. सो जहाँ पर अकाउंटेबिलिटी भी आते हैं जो मैकेनिज्म है, तो अगेंस्ट स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्ड टेरर. एंड थर्ड, एनेबल एन इफेक्टिव वे फॉर इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी टू कोऑपरेट. जहाँ पर एनेबल किया जाता है, जहाँ इफेक्टिवली हम इसको एनेबल करते हैं कि इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी टू कोऑपरेट करे. और चैलेंजेस क्या है यहाँ पर, द प्रोसेस फॉलोज आर्बिट्रेरी प्रोसीड्यूर फॉर टेररिस्ट ब्लैक लिस्टिंग एंड इंडिविजुअल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस. सो द प्रोसेस यहाँ पर फॉलो किया जाता है आर्बिट्रेशन प्रोसीड्यूर फॉर टेररिस्ट ब्लैक लिस्टिंग एंड इंडिविजुअल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को ब्लैक लिस्ट किया जाता है. लिमिटेशन ऑफ कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस एंड वेटो बाय मेंबर्स लाइक चाइना जो वेटो देते हैं, इस तरह से लिमिटेशन हम पे देखते हैं. लैक ऑफ सपोर्ट फ्रॉम होस्ट कम्युनिटी लाइक पाकिस्तान रेंडर्स द रिजोल्यूशन इनफेक्टिव. सो लैक ऑफ सपोर्ट देख पाते हैं पाकिस्तान जैसे कंट्री का, एंड जहाँ पर इनफेक्टिव होते हैं इनका रोल. और द कमिटी is being criticized for being non-transparent and in recent times there is demand for its reforms to address procedural shortcomings. यहाँ पर कमिटी ने क्रिटिसाइज किया है यहाँ पर, तो इसके बारे में आपको देखना है, सो एड्रेस करना है यहाँ पर. ओके, सो थर्ड क्वेश्चन, what do you mean by emotional intelligence? Explain the importance of emotional intelligence. का इम्पोर्टेंस क्या है एट द वर्क प्लेस में. सो इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस इज द एबिलिटी टू रिकॉग्नाइज वंस इमोशंस इन ए सिचुएशन एंड एक्ट एफिशिएंटली. जहाँ पर एबिलिटी क्या है ना, जहाँ पर एबिलिटी है टू रिकॉग्नाइज वंस इमोशन, कोई किसी का इमोशंस को इन ए सिचुएशन को देख के एंड इसका एक्ट कैसे कर रहा है एफिशिएंटली. सो emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize one's emotions in a situation and act efficiently. and it also needs the ability to understand अदर इमोशंस. सो इट ऑल्सो यहाँ पर इम्पोर्टेंट है कोई किसी का, एंड यहाँ पर क्या नीड है ना, किसी का अंडरस्टैंड को और इमोशन को फील करें. और इमोशनल अदर्स इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस. इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस कैन लीड टू बेटर डिसीजन. यहाँ पर बेटर डिसीजन लेने के लिए आपको सक्षम बनाते हैं. और इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस एम्प्लॉयज़ आर मोर लाइकली टू कीप देयर कूल अंडर प्रेशर एंड एक्ट एफिशिएंटली. वो कूल रहते हैं और एक्ट भी अच्छे से एक्ट एफिशिएंटली वो एक्ट करते हैं. और अंडर प्रेशर, कूल अंडर प्रेशर, ओके, प्रेशर भी हैंडल करते हैं. एंड दोज विद हाई इमोशनल क्वालिटी, ओके, सो यू आर बेटर एट रिजॉल्विंग कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. जहाँ पर इम्पोर्टेंट जिसका क्वालिटी, इमोशनल क्वालिटी अच्छा है, ओके, वो बेटर रिजॉल्व करते हैं कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स को. इमोशनली इंटेलिजेंस लीडर्स आर टेंड टू हैव ग्रेटर एम्पैथी. जहाँ पर इमोशनली इंटेलिजेंस लीडर्स जो है वो उसका ग्रेटर एम्पैथी भी रहता है. एंड एम्प्लॉयज़ विद हाई इमोशनल क्वालिटी आर मोर लाइकली टू लिसन करते हैं, किसी की बात सुनते हैं, एंड रिफ्लेक्ट करते हैं, एंड रिस्पॉन्ड करते हैं टू कंस्ट्रक्टिव क्रिटिसिज्म. ओके, सो कंस्ट्रक्टिव क्रिटिसिज्म को सॉल्व करते हैं. इट क्रिएट्स कंडक्ट कंड्यूसिव वर्क कल्चर एंड एन एनवायरनमेंट फॉर आउटकम्स. ये पर वो क्या करते हैं ना, एक कंड्यूसिव वर्क कल्चर, काज के काम को दिखाते हैं. ओके, और इन्वायरमेंट भी क्रिएट करते हैं अच्छा सा. ओके, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. पीएम जन आरोग्य योजना आउटकम्स डिपेंड्स ऑन स्टेट्स एफर्ट्स. So PM Jan Arogya Yojana outcomes depends on states' effort. In this context, discuss the concerns raised by some states and possible way forward for such concern. So यहाँ पर PM Jan Arogya Yojana जो है यहाँ पर जहाँ पर आउटकम्स डिपेंड्स ऑन स्टेट एफर्ट के ऊपर डिपेंड होते हैं. सो यहाँ पर डिस्कस करिए द कंसर्न रेज. हम स्टेट्स ने यहाँ पर कंसर्न मतलब उनका इशू ने उन्होंने उनका इशू रहते उन्होंने उनके इशू को अभी व्यक्त किया है. और पॉसिबल वे क्या है, वे फॉरवर्ड क्या है कि उसको सॉल्व किया जाए. सेवरल स्टेट्स आंसर. सेवरल स्टेट्स लाइक तेलंगाना, दिल्ली, उड़ीसा हैव कन्वेड अनविलिंगनेस टू ज्वाइन प्रधानमंत्री जन आरोग्य योजना. उन्होंने नहीं ज्वाइन करेंगे क्योंकि उनका रीजन दिया गया है. द रीजन्स आर एज बिलो. Okay, apprehension of insufficient coverage under the scheme. So insufficient coverage under the scheme, and states like Telangana already have their existing schemes. So Telangana already have their schemes, and some other states like Odisha provide a better coverage than that is provided by the center schemes. So Odisha center से भी ज़्यादा अच्छा वो better coverage दे रहे हैं, better facility देते हैं. ओके, सो प्रधानमंत्री जन आरोग्य योजना से भी बेहतर फैसिलिटी प्रोवाइड करते हैं. एंड 4 इज द फंडिंग रेशियो ऑफ 460:40 इज ए कंस्टेंट कोटेड बाय सम स्टेट. जहाँ पर 60:40 जो है जो रेशियो है, जहाँ पर 60% सेंटर देगा फंड और 40% देगा स्टेट्स. तो यहाँ पर भी कंसर्न है इस फंडिंग के ऊपर. एंड 5 is an India spend analysis. An India spend analysis citing a study published by Social Science Medicines had pointed out that the existing insurance program, the Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana, has not led to any reduction in out-of-pocket expenditure by the 150 million beneficiaries. It also left 40% beneficiaries uncovered. यहाँ पर 40% तो अनकवर्ड रहेगा. इसका ऊपर भी इशू है कि जहाँ पर इंडिया स्पेंड एनालिसिस के ऊपर यहाँ पर डिस्कस किया गया है कि जो स्टडी वहाँ पर किया है सोशल साइंस और मेडिसिन, जहाँ पर उन्होंने पॉइंट किया गया है कि दैट जिस जो इंश्योरेंस स्कीम है राष्ट्रीय स्वास्थ्य बीमा योजना, जो हैज़ नॉट लेड टू एनी रिडक्शन इन आउट ऑफ पॉकेट एक्सपेंडिचर. ओके, जहाँ पर उस पॉकेट एक्सपेंडिचर को कोई कम नहीं किया है. ओके, एंड बाय द 150 मिलियन बेनिफिशरीज के ऊपर. एंड इट आल्सो लेफ्ट 40% बेनिफिशरी अंडर अनकवर्ड. जहाँ पर 40% बेनिफिशरी अनकवर्ड रह गया है. और नेशनल हेल्थ प्रोटेक्शन प्रोवाइड्स cover for best services that southern states are already providing within an average per capita outgo of less than rupees 50,000, despite the selling of an assured sum of rupees 2 lakhs. So यहाँ पर साउथर्न जो स्टेट्स हैं ऑलरेडी प्रोवाइड करते हैं इस तरीके से एवरेज पर कैपिटा जहाँ पर ऑफ लेस देन 50,000 डिस्पाइट द सेलिंग ऑफ एन एस्योर्ड सम जहाँ पर 2 लाख देते हैं. यहाँ पर मैं कुछ समझ नहीं पा रहा हूँ यहाँ पर क्या देते हैं. तो प्रोवाइड एवरेज पर कैपिटा आउटगो ओके ऑफ लेस देन रिचेज 50,000 एंड डिस्पाइट द सेलिंग ऑफ एन एस्योर्ड ऑफ सम ऑफ रिचेज 2 लाख. सो जहाँ पर एस्योर किया जाता है 2 लाख लेकिन वो देते हैं पर कैपिटा से 50,000 यहाँ पर. And offering a higher selling for the same set of service will only help the hospital game the system. Way ahead, partnership and coalitions with private sector providers जहाँ पर पार्टनरशिप का ज़रूरत है प्राइवेट सेक्टर के साथ पब्लिक सेक्टर मतलब हॉस्पिटल के साथ जॉइंट होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. एंड टेक्नोलॉजी एंड इनोवेशन आर फॉर द रिड्यूसिंग कॉस्ट. यस, टेक्नोलॉजी एंड इनोवेशन का रोल यहाँ पर बहुत ही ज़्यादा. गवर्नमेंट विल हैव टू थिंक ऑफ मैनी नॉन बजटरी मीन्स ऑफ फाइनेंसिंग फॉर द स्कीम्स रिलेटेड टू हेल्थ केयर. जहाँ पर गवर्नमेंट को इसके बारे में सोचना है नॉन बजटरी मीन्स ऑफ फाइनेंसिंग फॉर द स्कीम्स रिलेटेड टू हेल्थ केयर के ऊपर सोचना है. एंड ब्रिंगिंग ऑल टुगेदर ऑल रिलेवेंट इंटर सेक्टरल एक्शन की ज़रूरत है. लिंकिंग हेल्थ एंड डेवलपमेंट एंड यूनिवर्सलाइज द अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ क्लीन ड्रिंकिंग वाटर, सैनिटेशन एंड गार्बेज डिस्पोजल, वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट के ऊपर ज़्यादा ध्यान देना चाहिए. फूड सिक्योरिटी के ऊपर, न्यूट्रिशन, वेक्टर कंट्रोल एक्सेट्रा. द स्वच्छ भारत प्रोग्राम मस्ट बी इनकॉर्पोरेटेड इन द प्रधानमंत्री जन आरोग्य योजना. ओके, जहाँ पर स्वच्छ भारत मिशन प्रोग्राम जो है उसको भी इनकॉर्पोरेट किया जा सकता है ओके प्रधानमंत्री जन आरोग्य योजना के साथ. तो इसके बारे में हमने देख रहे हैं. सो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. सो अनसर्टेन गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज क्लाउडेड डेवलपर सेंटिमेंट हिट सोलर कैपेसिटी एडिशन. डिस्कस द एंड सजेस्ट मेजर टू फेस ऑफ द सोलर पावर कैपेसिटी एडिशन. सो यहाँ पर गवर्नमेंट का पॉलिसी जो यहाँ पर डेवलप पॉलिसी जहाँ पर क्लाउडेड डेवलप सेंटिमेंट हिट सोलर कैपेसिटी के ऊपर हिट मतलब लोगों का चाहिदा बहुत ही ज़्यादा हो रहा है. एंड डिस्कस द सजेस्ट सम मेजर्स टू पेस अप ऑफ द सोलर पावर कैपेसिटी. सो यहाँ पर क्या क्या चैलेंज हो सकता है. चैलेंजेस फेसिंग बाय सोलर पावर, इम्पोर्टेंट डिपेंडेंसी ऑफ और एसेंशियल कंपोनेंट्स. जहाँ पर हम एसेंशियल कंपोनेंट्स में हम डिपेंड होते हैं अदर्स कंट्री से. लाइक चाइना से हम बहुत सारा पैनल हम इंपोर्ट करते हैं. ये बहुत ही अच्छा बात नहीं है. इन्वर्टेड ड्यूटी स्ट्रक्चर भी ज़्यादा होते हैं, ड्यूटी स्ट्रक्चर भी ज़्यादा है. एंड लैक ऑफ अवेयरनेस ऑन रूफटॉप सोलर के ऊपर अवेयरनेस लोगों का नहीं है. चैलेंजेस लाइक renegotiation of PPA. Okay, renegotiations or challenges like renegotiation of PPA and poor credit availability. Credit बहुत कम मिलता है. Lack of clarity on several policy issue. Okay, lack of several clarity यहाँ पर देखने को मिलते हैं. Way ahead, encouraging mixed power farms. यहाँ पर हमें encourage करना चाहिए mixed power farms को, इंक्लूडिंग बोथ सोलर एंड विंड फार्म जहाँ पर जनरेट हो सके. एंड एनकरेजिंग डोमेस्टिक मैन्युफैक्चर ऑफ सोलर पैनल्स, हमें इनकरेज करना चाहिए डोमेस्टिक मैन्युफैक्चर किया जाए. रेशनलाइजिंग ड्यूटी स्ट्रक्चर एंड इंसेंटिवाइजिंग एडॉप्शन ऑफ रूफटॉप सोलर. और नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. ओके, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज द ऑर्डिनेंस that overturned the Supreme Court's backed formula for implementing reservation in university jobs has been challenged. Analyze the implications of making the unit for quotas different from making the institution the unit Positive of 13-point formula. High Court ordered the changes of formula in Vivekanand theory versus Unions of India case. As the High Court, जहाँ पर यूनिवर्सिटी की जॉब के चैलेंज के बारे में आपको एनालाइज करना है, इसका इम्प्लीकेशन क्या है, जहाँ पर कोई भी डिपार्टमेंट में कोटा सिस्टम अगर किया जाए, ओके ऐसे हो सकता है, तो उसका ऊपर क्वेश्चन है. पॉजिटिव ऑफ 13-point फार्मूला, जहाँ पर हाई कोर्ट ऑर्डर द चैलेंजेस ऑफ फार्मूला इन विवेकानंद theory first in Union of India case. As for the High Court, the then system was violating Article 14, equality we follow, and Article 16, equality of opportunity in matter of public employment. Article 14, please remember, equality we follow, and Article 16, equality of opportunity in matters of the public employment. And the reasons given by the court was that it could result in some departments having all reserved positions and some departments having no reserved positions. Okay. Negatives of 13-point formula. In the full cycle of 14 points, for 14 position, only 5 post 35.7% go to the reserved category, and this number is far below to the mandated reservation of 49.5%. After adding the 10% quotas for the economically weaker sections, the gap will widen further, as now every 10th reserved seats will be given to the economically weaker sections group. It makes the reserved seat 6 out of every 14. It makes the reserved seats 6 out of 14. It means 42.8% reservation when the selling is 59.5%. 49.5% plus 10%. Okay, and in case a department is small and strength is 3 teachers, professors only, there will be no reservation, because reservation will be provided for fourth seat only. Okay, and first 3 seats are unreserved. Further, if there are only 6 seats in the department, then 2 only 1 seat will be reserved for OBC, because SC will be getting 7 seat only. It is important. And the problem of some departments subjects having all reserved candidates and some having only unreserved candidates exist in the 13th point roster as well. Next question. The success of both the Kaveri and Tejas programs will transform the aerospace scene and put India in the front rank of aeronautical nations, perhaps even ahead of China if the desired degree of resolve, the professional rigor can be brought into the fore. Discuss the two projects. Answer the benefits. The two projects form key components of India's technological aspiration. Plays a key role. Plays a key role in indigenization. सो यहाँ पर एरोस्पेस के बारे में बोलना है. ओके, तो जहाँ पर चाइना बहुत ही आगे है और जहाँ पर हमें कावेरी और तेजस प्रोग्राम में सक्सेस मिला है एरोस्पेस में, तो इसका ऊपर बोलना है डिजायर डिग्री टू रिजॉल्व, कैसे हम रिजॉल्व किया जाए, हमें यहाँ और भी रैंक अच्छा किया जाए. ओके, तो यहाँ पर चैलेंज किया है. चैलेंज मेनी ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ द तेजस फेस्ड emanate from lack of engine thrust. As the Kaveri has failed to make an appearance, US made alternatives such as General Electric F-44 engine or even the more powerful F-414 do not deliver adequate thrust for the Tejas Mk1 to meet all its mission. For the Tejas Mk1A, MKIA and MKIA and the LCA Navy and other aircraft programs such as the advanced medium combat aircraft, India will need turbo jet engines or of even greater thrust. Thus, it is vital for India to develop a family of homegrown jet engines to power indigenous combat aircraft. as well and as re-engine imported ones. Their failure could spell the end of the India's aeronautical industry or condemn it forever to licensed production. Overestimation by the DRDO of its capabilities, compounded by a reluctance to seek advice, inadequate project management and decision-making skill of its scientists, and exclusion of users, the military, from all aspects of the project. And third question, despite many efforts and programs being launched by India, it is the world's second biggest arms importer. Discuss the steps taken by the government towards self-sufficiency in arms production and the hurdles in its achievements. So first our answer, initiatives. So strategic partnership model. A few private sector firms would be declared as system integration based on their proven capability, and they would tie up with foreign OEMs with the aim of laying down a strong defense industrial foundation. The firms would make long-term investment to develop a base for research and development and production facilities. Initially, 4 segments were chosen, and fighter aircraft, helicopters, submarines, and armored fighting vehicles. An initiative of Army in 2016, it set up the Army Design Bureau as the nodal agency, for which acts as a repository of technical knowledge and procedures, and assist in formulating operational requirement and general staff quality requirement. So an initiative of Army 2016. So यहाँ पर क्या सेटअप किया जाए, Army Design Bureau as the nodal agency which acts as a repository of technical knowledge and procedures, and assist in formulating operational requirement and general staff quality requirement. Ministry of Defence has undertaken a strategic partnership with Tata Power to develop combat management system for the indigenous aircraft carrier. So Ministry of Defence has undertaken a strategic partnership with Tata Power to develop combat management system for the indigenous aircraft carrier. And Defence Acquisition Council was set up under the chairmanship of the Defence Minister. It is geared towards addressing the short-term procurement-related hurdles rather than addressing the concerns of the domestic industry for achieving self-reliance in the long run. The Ministry of Defence is planning to launch an indigenization portal to attract more local manufacturers towards defense component manufacturing. The ministry hopes to increase the indigenization from the current 45% to around 70 to 75% eventually. Ministry of Defence is planning to launch an indigenization portal to attract more local manufacturers towards defense component manufacturing. The ministry hopes to increase indigenization from the current 45% to around 70 to 75% eventually. Hurdles. So hurdles, what are the hurdles? Near monopoly enjoyed by DRDO over the defense research and development, despite having a large pool of scientists, engineers, and over 50 labs and establishments. There have been failures and cost and time overruns in the project undertaken. Also, the lack of research and development industry and academia has compelled the country to source technology from outside. DRDO, DPSU, and the ordnance factories are yet to become globally competitive. Several efforts have been made in the past to reform this organization, but all have failed due to vested interest and lack of political will. Private sector, although the Indian defense industry was opened to the private sector in 2001, it is yet to contribute in any meaningful manner. The biggest hindrance in the private sector's participation, and so far, has been mistrust, and procedural hurdles come in the way, and single source procurement from the private sector is still considered a taboo, whereas import without competition is greatly admired. Challenges in defense procurement: India's bureaucracy and complex procurement procedures are to blame. The defense budget for 2089 has shown a marginal increase to cater for inflation and the revenue portion of the budget. However, capital expenditure has shown a downward trend, and the amount allocated was just sufficient to meet the committed expenditure, and no new weapon system can be procured. So next question, just study. So our next question: as for the latest National Crime Record Bureau data, there were 1.33 lakh rape cases and 90,205 POCSO cases pending trial at the end of 2016. Discuss the reasons behind such large number of cases of this grave nature and steps taken by the government to deal with it. So because the reasons behind the pendency: because lack of implementation of laws of speedy trial and lack of infrastructure despite mandated by acts, and judicial pendency here, and excessive adjournment and delays in trial, lack of scientific forensics and investigative machinery, and lack of scientific forensics and lack of investigative machinery, insufficient protection to victims. Steps to deal. So what are the actual steps? So statutory stipulations in the 2012 POCSO Act that every district should have an exclusive court and fast track special courts to deal with these cases. Discuss and analyze the effectiveness of mediation as a dispute settlement mechanism in insignificant issue. So effectiveness of mediation as a dispute settlement mechanism. So what are the benefits of mediation? So it will provide a long-lasting solution to the problem rather than the court-ordered one, which leaves scope for appeal. It is a cost-effective mechanism. It reduces not only economic cost but also political and social cost. Okay, and provides for a dialogue on the issue, which is often missed in court proceedings. Provide for a dialogue on the issue which is often missed in court proceedings. Thus, it may address the problem from its root cause. Challenges: the decision may be seen to be imposed on the parties not consenting for mediation. There may be biases in listening to opinions of parties. People favored may be heard appropriately. It may not be seen as legally appropriate, and all parties may not represented. So all are the challenges. All parties may not be represented. It may not be seen as legally appropriate, and there may be biases in listening to opinions of parties. People favored may be heard appropriately. The decision may be seen to be imposed on the parties not concerning for mediation. Next question: the Official Secrets Act is archaic and irrelevant. Government needs to rethink it, critically analyze the statements. So Official Secrets Act broadly deals with two aspects: spying or espionage, disclosure of other secret information of the government. The secret information can be any official code, password, sketch, plan, model, article, note, discount, document, or information. Both the person communicating the information and the person receiving the information can be punished by the prosecuting agency. Problems with the Act. In 2017, Poonam Agarwal was charged as OSA under the Official Secret Act for conducting a sting operation on an army on an army official who criticized the Sayok system in the army. As the classification of secret information is so broad, it is legally in direct conflict with the Right to Information Act. Examining the process of decision making in a government involves looking for information and documents, records which are meant to be confidential are sometimes significant in bringing illegalities to public attention. This was true in the 1980s of irregularities in Buffer's defense deal. It limits the accountability of governments by providing them a shield under national security. It can lead to massive corruption. What are nanoparticles? Discuss their applications and challenges in their utilization. Nanoparticles are particles that exist on a nanometer scale, that is below 100 nanometer, and in at least one dimension. They can possess physical properties such as uniformity, conductance, or special optical properties. Nanoparticles can be in the form of nanocrystals, nanopowders, or nanoclusters, and the particles act as a bridge between bulk material and atomic or molecular structure. So nanoparticles are particles that exist on a nanometer scale, that is below 100 nanometer, in at least one dimension. They can possess physical properties such as uniformity, conductance, or special optical properties. Nanoparticles can be in the form of nanocrystals, nanopowders, or nanoclusters, and the particles act as a bridge between bulk material and atomic or molecular structure. Applications. Some of the important applications of nanoparticles are medicine. They are being tested for use of numerous clinical applications ranging from the carriers for drug and gene delivery into tumors, or to contrast against imaging. The use of polymer coated iron oxide nanoparticles to break up clusters of bacteria, possibly allowing more effective treatment of chronic bacterial infections. The surface change of protein filled nanoparticles has been shown to affect the ability of the nanoparticle to stimulate immune responses. Researchers are thinking that these nanoparticles may be used in high-level vaccines manufacturing and materials. Ceramic, silicon carbide nanoparticles dispersed in magnesium produce a strong, lightweight material. Silicate nanoparticles can be used to provide a barrier to gases, for example oxygen, or moisture in a plastic film used for packaging. Silicate nanoparticles can be used to provide barrier to gases, for example oxygen, or moisture in a plastic film used for packaging. This could slow down the process of spoiling or drying out in food. Zinc oxide nanoparticles can be dispersed in industrial coating to protect wood, plastic, and textiles from exposures of UV radius. Exposures to UV rays environment. Photocatalytic copper tungsten oxide nanoparticles to break down oil into biodegradable compounds. Gold nanoparticles embedded in a porous manganese oxide as a room temperature catalyst to break down volatile organic pollutants in the air. Iron nanoparticles are being used to clean up carbon tetrachloride pollution in groundwater. Energy and electronics. Nanoparticles started with nanoparticles of carbon to develop low-cost electrodes For fuel cells, this electrode may be able to replace the expensive platinum needed for fuel cell catalysts. Silver nanoparticle ink was used to form the conducive lines needed in circuit boards. A catalyst using platinum cobalt nanoparticles is being developed for fuel cells and produces 12 times more catalytic activity than pure platinum. Challenges in utilization. There is a lot of money involved in the use of nanoparticles and nanotechnology. There is funding problem. A huge investment is needed in order to make more nanomaterials and nano devices. Their use is also costly and not everyone can afford it. And second is there are some safety issues related to the use of nano design and nano materials. For example, nanorobots are used to enter the human body and target harmful microorganisms. But what could happen if there is some programming error and the nanobot attaches itself to the wrong microorganisms and alters it? Nanomaterials are not very environmentally safe. They might enter the ecosystem food chain and bring changes in the cellular environments. The nanoparticles undergo their biodegradation. This might lead to intercellular changes and gene alteration. The unfavorable or undesirable gene alteration might prove to be hazardous for human life. One of the biggest issues that arise with the use of nanotechnology is the impact on the environment and the toxicity to the humans. The different properties of nanoparticles might lead to adverse biological effect and cause toxicity in the humans. So now we discuss all about nanoparticles. So next question we can discuss. So next question, as per the information revealed by the RTI, total of 384 tigers have been killed by poachers across the country in the last 10 years. Discuss the reasons which creates hurdles in elimination of poaching and laws and mechanisms available in India against it. So hurdles in eliminating poaching. So difficult terrain, support of local groups of organized criminals. So hurdles in eliminating poaching is difficult terrains. Second is support of local groups to organize criminal gangs due to poverty, lack of infrastructure, weak law enforcement mechanism, lack of coordination between the administration and law enforcement, disasters in the protected areas, ineffective and cumbersome intelligence gathering mechanism, and lack of money resource and modern equipment, and absence of anti-trafficking and anti-poaching tools, manpower, vehicles, and skill enforcers. Mechanism available. Wildlife Protection Act has stipulated strict punishment, which including prison terms and fines, and Wildlife Crimes Control Bureau, Traffic India pioneered the training of the sniffer dogs for wildlife protection in India. Back in 2018, India is member of organizations like CITES, CMS that arrest cross-border trade of wildlife. Protected areas in the country also provide a shield against wildlife trade. Second question, complexities of forest fires need to be understood. It is crucial part of some forest ecosystem. Comment: a group of scientists have submitted a paper that proves the importance of forest fire in protecting certain ecosystem. The benefits of forest fire helps revive dormant seeds of many species. Even young woody trees survive ground fires and have higher growth rates. Even young woody trees survive ground fires and have higher growth rates immediately post-fire until they reach a certain height, and fire along with seasonal droughts are important driver of dry deciduous threats across Arunachal Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. And fires even suppressing invasive species. Tribal communities use of small litter fires just before the dry season to control invasive species. Controlled fires in areas that have huge fuel loads around December can help prevent as well as reduce the impact of large fires later in the season. If an area is continuously protected from fire, it could catch fire once in 4 years or so because of the high accumulation of grass, woods, and twigs. Third question, how the drug price regulated in India? What are the major issues regarding drug price regulation? Drug regulation and drug price regulation in India. Okay. NLEM includes essential medicines that satisfy the priority health needs of the population. And second is National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority (NPPA) controls and regulates the price of drugs in India under the Drug Prices Control Order under the Drug Price and Control Order to 1995. Issues regarding drug price regulation. Cost-based pricing policy resulted in comparatively lowest prices than the current market-based policy. Supreme Court in 2015 termed National Pharmaceutical Pricing Policy 2015 and Drug Price Control Order 2013 as unreasonable and irrational. The DPCO follows a market-based pricing mechanism. The selling price is worked out on the basis of simple average price of all brands having at least 1% market share of the total market turnover of that medicine. This mechanism is contested by pharma companies. Pharma manufacturing companies feel disincentive in the process. The recent report of the Competition Commission of India reveals that retailers' margins as a primary cause of high prices of medicine. Drug price control will have less control in such situation. Last question. On the one hand, social media is seen as a challenge in internal security of India, and on the other hand, it can be a solution for the same. Critically examine challenges posed for social media. Fake news generate panic and push law and order systems to the banks. The exemptions of Northeast people mass exodus from Bangalore, and the recent riots in Muzaffarnagar are examples. Cyber crimes have become prominent on social networking sites because of the simple fact that people reveal a lot about themselves on these sites. Harassment of the vulnerable, particularly women and children. The recent revelation of role of Cambridge Analytica in the victory of Trump points to the negative role of social media sites in politics. Today, terrorists select social media as a practical alternative to disturb the function of nations and other business activities. Because this technique has potential to cause huge damage, how it benefits? Due to the massive reach, it will be easy for the administration to spread correct information to guide citizens. Due to the massive reach, it will be easy for the administration to spread correct information to citizens. It has a huge role to play in times of disasters by assisting the administration. With the help of technology companies, it becomes easy to curtail some of these negative effects. WhatsApp's restriction on groups forward are an example. Twitter can also develop similar filters to reduce sharing of outrageous content. Then the notion of a community is being reconceptualized after the introduction of social networking sites, as these sites serve as platform for political social organization. They act as a vital tools of communication and collaboration. So now you understand the actual fact.